Okay, so sorry about the voiceover on this, but the wind, even though it was light, it gusts up to 12 miles an hour. But it was annoying enough on the mic that I just decided to do a voiceover. So here's the deal: this is a standard can, and the petroleum and cotton for the igniter. I toyed with a bunch of ideas, some sort of a blast match or a sulfur head on that thing. But you know what? Cotton and Vaseline, it's very, very difficult to argue with that because of the flame it gives, and um, it's just the standby for so many people. I figured why not use that as a primary ignition source for this product to get the parent material going. And if you see any cuts in the tape, I did it to so it wouldn't be boring. Basically, I just let that burn out for 7 minutes or so till it was fully flaming, and so there it is. And that pine needles you're seeing there, I'm shaking out. I've had those soaking for 24 hours in water. Just you know, this is kind of, I'm not in the environment I wish I was in. I'm sitting there in my backyard in a 78-degree day, so I'm trying to make it and introduce stuff to it that makes this interesting and educational to you guys, even though you're the instructors and you're in the know. I figure the more stuff I do like this, the more informative it is as you watch it, instead of sitting there and throwing dry crap on it and saying, hey, look how great it is. That's just not the way things work. So I think at this point the candle's been burning for about 15 minutes or so. You can probably guess. I mean, I got big lungs, and yeah, I just scattered the whole top layer of that thing off onto the log. I was blowing on that really, really hard. So uh, this is just standard water. Totally snuffed it. You saw how easy that came back. Now the funny thing is, I'm sitting there with a spray bottle trying to replicate rain, and rain wouldn't knock it out. Just standard rain. I mean, a good rain, like you just wouldn't want to be in it. Uh, you see how it reignited there? It's kind of funny. It just wouldn't put it out. But here I am with a spray bottle a foot away, and it goes out. But you can see how consistent that flame is right after it's snuffed with water. It's almost like I'm shooting PKP on it or something. I mean, that just goes out like that. Hopefully in subsequent videos I'll be able to get in just a complete downpour and show you what I meant about the resilience to rain. And the reason I keep doing this, like, why am I trying to make my product fail? Because I think that's how we learn, is by just bringing it to failure, so you guys can kind of see how it behaves. So I just teased up a bunch of material out of the can, like whatever. Say you introduce some new wet stuff to it and you wanted a bigger flame, you just tease the stuff out of there and you can get a 5-6 inch flame. Now here I'm just getting careless and stupid with it, again, to try to, in the interest of demoing it. Maybe you kicked it over, whatever, maybe just upset it somehow and spilled the contents. I don't know. No, I didn't even wring those needles or shake them or anything. I mean, this is just really, it's asinine. You're never going to do this, but it's still worth looking at, I think. I was kind of shocked with a flame that consistent. You know, even those needles have been soaking for 24 hours. I was kind of thinking that the pine resin would ignite those faster than it did. You know, the pine resin and the needle itself, I thought would go easier than that. So there I got tons of wet needles on the material, and basically you just find a little corner and aggravate it, tease it up with a little bit with the tip of your knife, and put a spark on it. It's going to go again. Again, the point of me shooting this, and I'm sorry if this just sounds obvious, but I just want to make sure I'm clear that it isn't, hey, look at how fast the pine needles light. It's like, look at the product fighting with a pretty darn good flame over a cooler, wetter material. It's just reluctant to burn. That flame is just really, really trying to do its job, and despite all the water dripping down on it. Okay, now I don't know, as far as you can see how much material is left there. There's just a tiny little bit of material, probably, I don't know, for 40 minutes into it maybe, real time. And it looks like I have a piece maybe the size of a quarter sitting there. Still igniting with a spark. Anybody wants to buy a knife with a temporal taken out of it, just let me know. I'll give you this one. Okay, now here I'm going to go over, because there's just so little of the actual material there. I'm just going to start putting real material on there to get a blazer going. Again, that stuff in my left hand is just bone dry, not the soak stuff. You can see the material still cranking. Yeah, I'm sure we're at least 40 minutes into it at this point. And obviously that's what you would expect out of the pine needles. I think that was more of a temper tantrum. I just got tired of that little flame, so I just wanted beating it down, snuffing it again. Maybe your partner walked on it and snuffed your fire, and you're like, damn, John, you're an idiot. So you get out your little tiny little bit that's left, maybe the size of a dime, tease it a bit, get a spark on there. I spoke too soon. You can see what I'm doing there, just trying to tear and get as much oxygen onto the tiny little, between the tiny little fibers that I can of what's left. There we go. So again, I mean, this thing has been snuffed and relit so many times, just trying to, you know how it goes. It's reality is it very likely that you're going to end up with a failure here and there, and it's nice to have a source that'll just keep coming back. So this is some 9 bark I pulled off of a bush, just out of my backyard. It was dead. So now I'm just experimenting with dry materials so you can see the last little bit of dime left of it. So that's kind of it, guys. Hopefully I gave you something. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I had another failure. The wind snuffed that. So just see what's going on here. It needs some oxygen. Hopefully I killed this thing enough with wet material and water and everything else that you guys can kind of judge for yourself what this thing was like and the resilience of it and the viability of it. So got any input at all, please contact me. You got my flyer, and let's talk it out. You got any ideas for improvement? I'm always listening. So to finish this off here, sorry I had to patch my voice over. Yeah, so the spirit of this is spent a long time developing this to make it wind resistant and rain resistant and foolproof. And again, the idea is a complete catastrophic failure, broken legs, hypothermia, shock, some no excuse way of having a flame, a sustainable flame that will burn some of the wetter materials. So that's the spirit of it, and I'm constantly interested in thinking and retooling to make it better. So any input you guys got, I'd very much appreciate it, and would love to do a live exercise with you guys. The more people, the better. Get better input, more eyes, more ideas on it. So thanks, guys. You take care.